Good day. This is Ray. Today is Saturday, March 15th, 2025. For me, another day of learning and growing. Hope that you, your family, friends, and loved ones are doing well and staying safe. So I'm on this journey, this sort of long journey of paying off a lot of consumer debt. And really, I would say the journey started back in June of 2020. But I would say that the start of my debt would be when I took out student loans. That was the first debt I had as an adult, and the biggest debt to this day. Well, besides now having a mortgage that I've taken out, it's been hard. You know, it's had a lot of effects on my life. And in a lot of ways, I would say it set me back in some ways. And I'm not here to, make this a pity party or anything like that. There were just a lot of factors in play that caused me to make the decision of, one thing, going to an expensive school, even though I had some scholarships and grants. But just not knowing the impact of what that amount of money would cost for all of my adult life. And as a matter of fact, the student loan will be the last thing that I pay off on this journey to get out of complete consumer debt. So I do have some regrets. But here's the thing. There wasn't enough education in place to really understand what type of impact it would be to take out, 5-figure debt, and then shortly have to start paying on it. So my background is that I was a classically trained musician, and I took lessons from symphony orchestra players, and I went to a conservatory of music. And we studied nothing but how to perform music, how to write music, the history behind music, everything. I was the stage hand or stage manager, where we would have professional musicians come in. I would set up the stage, I would turn pages for them. I performed at a gospel church. I wrote music for them. And so that was my life. I got really good at it, and went to graduate school for a year for it. But what I didn't consider was the impact of taking out that amount of loans would have, and not having a plan in place after graduating, or what my career would look like in music. And so I just wanted to kind of talk about some of those regrets. I think, the first thing is the psychological impact it's had on me, and how that debt led to more debt. So in my 20s, I was a performing musician. I was playing with different groups, bands, playing for various churches, making ends meet. And I guess I was doing okay. Later on, I decided to go to graduate school to pursue a master's. And I decided not to continue on that path. It just made sense that I needed to make a change. As a matter of fact, when I was 17 or 18, I'm not sure how old I was, but I had a symphony orchestra teacher that I was very close with that said, if you're in your late 20s, you're not happy with the direction you're heading in music, then change. And that's exactly what I did. I changed and went back to school for business and took jobs at a tip agency. Well, I was a janitor for 2 years, but took a job as a tip agency, and yada, yada, yada. I am 14 years into my career. in business. And, you know, I wish I didn't have to go through all that time of just really indecisiveness and getting further behind, because I would use my credit cards to get by in a lot of situations where I didn't have the money, I wasn't making enough money. You know, I remember I had to be like maybe 30, 31 when I did take on that job as a janitor. The starting pay was like less than $10 an hour. And I ended up moving in with a family that let me stay in their basement so that I could work in the day and then go to community college at night, because I did go back to school, to community college at night, and that was tremendous, you know. But it was tough, you know. Mentally, it was tough because I felt like I shouldn't have been in that situation where I could barely afford to just live. But I was very fortunate to have that family take me in a completely different state while I pursued my other interests. And fortunately, when I was going back to night school, community college, it was a cheaper option, so I didn't take on a lot more debt, but I did take on some debt to be able to do that. So, you know, if you're looking at my life now, it's a lot different. You know, I am a homeowner. I've been making 3 years of payments now, and you know, paying off of that considerable debt. But needless to say, that student loan debt led to more debt. And you know, in order to get by, I had to use credit cards. Situations where, you know, when I incurred the medical debt, I had to take out personal loans, 401k loans, and it led to more debt. So, you know, if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would sit down and discuss all options and have me peek into the future and say, this is where you are. Are you sure you want to go down this path, this career path, for one thing? And, you know, would it make sense to take out this, if you are going to continue on this path, would it make sense to take out this much money, knowing that it's going to take a lot longer for you to pay off your loans? It may take a lot longer to be able to become a homeowner. These are the other things that can impact your life. So, you know, that's one of the regrets I had. But another one was not really fully investigating the scholarships and grants that were available. I kind of heard, you know, talk of other grants and scholarships that were there, but didn't really seek to take advantage of those. I was just trying to get by. I mean, my first year of college, I took like 21 credits, and basically the max load is 18 credits, so I took over that. But I started off as a double major. I was a classical trumpet and piano, and then also computer information systems, which eventually, you know, by my junior year of computer information systems, I washed out. It was just too much to focus on both, especially when I was giving as much effort into music as I was. I wasn't giving that type of focus to computer information systems. However, fast forward to now, computer information systems has helped because, you know, I'm using programs on my job that require some knowledge about HTML, and anyway, so some of it did come in handy, but it was just a lot. And I'm not sure why I went down that path. But yeah, you know, I would talk to my younger self and say, you know, you might want to consider going to community college for the first 2 years and then finish up at a 4-year university and then get started with your career as soon as possible. And that's one of my regrets, is that I didn't have a clear direction, clear path to where what would make the most sense, especially because even back then, I was thinking that I'd be married, have kids, start raising a family, but because of having that type of debt, I felt like I didn't want to bring anybody into that mess. For years, that's how I felt. And I'm just now getting to the place where I checked this morning, I'm about at $42,000 worth of consumer debt, down from a high of $115,041.89 of consumer debt June 2020. So it's taken me a long time to be able to get to this place where I feel like I'm not in such a mess. I'm actually getting things together as long as it took. And, I could definitely see myself having that consumer debt paid off before I turn 50, and having my home paid off before I'm 60, and, before retirement. So I did delay payments of my student loan as much as I could. And I think I started paying them in 2011 is when I started paying on the student loans, and hadn't stopped paying on them except for when we had the COVID. I forget what that was called, maybe forbearance or whatever it was called. And so during that time, I didn't pay on it, but I paid on other debts. So I'm not going to go through all of the regrets I have. And like I said, I'm not blaming anybody for the lack of knowledge on it. Those conversations should have started in high school, and that should have been something that was mandatory for the schools to really talk about, starting in ninth grade. Even, maybe homeroom, dedicate homeroom to talk about pursuing college or other career choices. That would have been the best use of it, because really, homeroom is just kind of you're waiting until actual school starts, classes start, and really didn't get, much done in that time. So that was, looking back, that was a big, huge waste of time. And they should definitely consider using the homeroom to talk about those type of things. But anyway, if you got anything from this, that's all I care about. But if you made it this far, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. You know when I post my videos. You can find me at youtube.com/@NotInMyBudget. As always, thank you for watching. Take care.